Pranam Gurudev.
What's that?
Pranam Gurudev.
It'd be interesting if Paramahansa Yogananda were to uh, just materialize as he was when he left, um, to take charge of everything that he was doing. Uh, how do you think it would be? Would it be interesting to see what he does? You, he would be in a body. You would be able to travel to Encinitas to go see him in person. All of us would definitely make the effort to do that, wouldn't you? Get your get your visa to the U.S. and fly to California. I wonder what it would be like after this span of time. If he left before a lot of these changes that have happened. And the split from Donald Walters, who was his number one monk. He was the senior monk that took care of and guided all the other monks. So I came across more about the Kutastha. We hear about a lot about the Kutastha, and without uh, too much, without very much explanation as to what it is, as to what Lahiri is referring to. Obviously, is referring to the self. So you would have to know the self to know the Kutastha, and you would definitely have to know the self in order to meditate it at the Kutastha, wouldn't you? So that goes with everything all the masters and all the scriptures have said. I had never heard the word Kutastha until um, I started reading some books about Lahiri Mahasaya's life on that side. So that was probably 15 years ago. But it seemed like there was a confusion as to what it is. Nobody seemed to know what it was. Um, he very clearly says that the Katastha, in these notes that he wrote, that the Katastha is the inner self, meaning it is the self. The, the Katastha is ever stationed and eternal. Katastha, that is, the subject, as the inner self, hence eternal and not to be killed. The entire universe is in the body. Realizing this, there's nothing to think. Be like it, anything you've ever wanted, anything that you've ever experienced, anything that you've ever enjoyed experiencing and would like to to re-experience things, people, uh, situations. It's all it's all within you, and you can uh, be in the presence of that doing or that being or that witnessing again, because it's all within you. It hasn't gone anywhere. Your religion is to practice Kriya Yoga. Concentrate on it because the warrior has no work, religion, other than to practice Kriya. So here he's telling you the meaning of your life. What is the meaning of my life? It's to practice Kriya Yoga. This shows you how serious Kriya Yoga is. It isn't something to be taken lightly for initiation or especially after initiation. Concentrate on it because the warrior has no work, religion, other than to practice Kriya. The warrior is one who practices Kriya, abandoning the expectation of the results of the practice. So all the guidance is given by the gurus, given by Lahiri Mahasaya in person to his disciples, and then a continuation of his guidance in the form of notes and what he had said that people recorded at the time on paper.
Pranam, Guruji.
That's that. A Kriya Yoga practice provides eternal bliss. So if you over a reasonable amount of time, if you're not experiencing an increase of uh, bliss, of contentment, meaning I feel perfect. I don't feel perfect because I feel healthy. I don't feel perfect because I received a large sum of money. I don't feel perfect because the people around me are happy and healthy. Whether you feel perfect because you realize that that's your true nature. That's your inner nature. This this katasa, that is the subject, is the inner self and hence eternal and not to be killed. The entire universe is in the body. Realizing this, there is nothing to think. Your religion is to practice Kriya Yoga. Concentrate on it because the warrior has no work, religion, other than to practice Kriya. Kriya practice provides eternal bliss. Whoever has attained the highest happiness had received Kriya Yoga and had practiced actually. If you do not practice Kriya Yoga, then you will face sin due to disassociation from uh, katasa. I will say you are not in Brahm, the ultimate self, then it is better to die. Disassociation from katasa invites bad reputation. If you all say you are not in Brahm, the ultimate self, then it is better to die. Disassociation from katasa invites bad reputation. If you do not practice Kriya, then everybody will comment whatever they like, and you will be treated as a vulgar one. As you can see, it puts a lot of emphasis on Kriya Yoga, meditating at the Katasa. Just as the Vedas that I read as a young boy, they said to meditate on the self. And I said to myself when I was reading the book, how do I do that? There's no instruction here on how to do that. I said you can be taught this, you can be shown this by a Mahatma that knows how to do this. That person can show you. Everybody will comment left and right, especially the senses who are harmful to you. The senses will say, you were going away from us, but look, we have brought you back now. They will blame your strength to fight, and there's no more sorrow than this comment. Decidedly practice Kriya Yoga if realized good. If there is no realization, then there will be a happiness later. Tranquilizing pleasure and pain, gain or loss, practice Kriya Yoga, and you'll be in Brahman, the ultimate self. Having attained this tranquility, you will be free from the bondages of actions and their results. You will be saved from a great deal of fear by a little practice of Kriya Yoga. Of course, after attaining the still state of breath, when the Omkar Kriyas are practiced, the tranquil air, Shivayu, if you practice Kriya Yoga sincerely, with the expectation of the results of Kriya Yoga practice, you will be in bondage. The expectation of the results of Kriya practice will put in the seeker Kriyan what into the negative side and will generate attachments, resulting in bondage. Perform all works, but without the expectation of the results therefrom. This verse teaches the very spirit and essence of the entirety of the message of the Bhagavad Gita. Holding on to the after effect poise of Kriya, perform all works, treat success and failure as equal, balance to achieve a state of equilibrium consciousness. This is called yoga, harmonious attunement with all. Tranquilize the intellect, dissolve thoughts, and let and, and let there be what it would be. The miser expects results from Kriya practice. So Lahiri Mahasaya says, don't expect results from Kriya practice. Practice Kriya as he lays forth, as he teaches, but don't expect results. the Kriya path is scientific, and practicing Kriya is technically secret. For example, Khetri Mudra, Sambhava Mudra, Yoni Mudra, Brahma Yoni Mudra, etc. When Khetri is successful, Sambhava is established. Then the attention is fixed on the head, and blinking of the eyes stops due to the tranquil breath at the dorsal, and the seeker enters into a trance in the state of samadhi, the highest state of attunement. Practicing Kriya, abandoning expectations of the results therefrom, provides eternal realization of the ultimate self. Staying always to hear the sound of Om, one is tuned in oneness with the self in eternal tranquility. Therefore, listen to the sound of Om, the seeker of the this must have been an electrical thing. He who treats good and bad alike is established in the state of eternal tranquility. He who sees yet does not see is established in the state of eternal tranquility. He who is established in Khetri Mudra, Sambhava Mudra, and Brahma Yani Mudra is beyond attachment. As a result, he sees, does, and hears, yet he does not perform any actions with attachment. Thus he enjoys absolute freedom and eternal tranquility. And Lahiri Mahasaya put out quite a number of disciples that achieved a very high state of consciousness. Meaning with this personal instruction, a lot of people were successful under practice. Just to summarize, he said, practice Kriya Yoga. That's a must. He emphasized, don't look for results. That's a lot of the Bhagavad Gita is spoken of as not looking for results. Just practice. The practice takes all of your concentration, so there's no room for thinking about results. I say a large group of people of Lahiri Mahasaya's disciples practice Kriya Yoga very seriously. Now remember, that was a different age, a different time. There were distractions, no doubt, but not to the degree that we have distractions now. So any effort that you put into it now, uh, with all the distractions, all the things that you could be doing other than meditation, a lot of good things uh, would reward you uh, fourfold in your efforts to practice Kriya Yoga, as hard as it is today. The one that has some wisdom understands the nature of the world. It's easy to practice because you see right before your eyes. You see the world beginning and the world ending. You see your life beginning, your life ending. Uh, you're in youth. Your body's building, becoming more uh, capable, stronger. You have a tremendously strong immune system as a child, and immune system is the natural way to fight off any type of disease or any type of illness in the body. You continue to grow in intellect, awareness, health, if you lead a healthy life, and um, until you start to uh, reach the age of 40, between 40 and 50, your concentration becomes a little more difficult to concentrate. It's physiological. It comes with the body itself. It comes with the aging process, and then the mind also starts to age. Uh, but because you don't use your body for Kriya Yoga, and because you don't use your mind for Kriya Yoga, by that time you would have learned this. I can practice Kriya Yoga despite my age, despite my energy level, despite my time to meditate. I,
10:24 a.m.
I notice you'll notice how to accomplish Kriya Yoga practice. And to accomplish Kriya Yoga practice is easy once you know how to do it. You just have to be taught how to do it. And there's lots and lots and lots, hundreds, thousands of individuals, of people that will teach you Kriya Yoga. And if you're serious about Kriya Yoga, you can go to that source, which is resounds with you. That is the best, not because of what others have said, but because what you feel uh, that is right, what is true. You feel what is in your heart. References from Gita of Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga in light of Kriya Yoga. Karma Yoga. If holding on to the after effect of Kriya Yoga is good, then why are you trying to engage in me in this tremendous work of Kriya practice? So remember, Yogananda said Kriya Pranayama, for example, after the 14th Kriya Pranayama, try to hold on to the after effect poise of Kriya Yoga, meaning the peace that has come to you after Kriya Pranayama. So you have some motion, you have some effort of breathing, you have some motion, you have some effort of observing, and you're busy doing that. That's engaging in Kriya Pranayama. So you hold on for as long as you can hold on until something has disturbed you. And so many people over the years have heard different ways of holding on. Of course, the best way is to hold on by your own means. Nothing else needed. Just you is the best way. Because if you're ever in a situation where you don't have uh, the perfect place, if you don't have the uh, things associated with Kriya Pranayama, if it's just you in a field or in front of a river or in your apartment in a big city, you'll always be successful because you always have what you need. And the advanced Kriya Yogi knows this, and so holds on to those after effects of Kriya for as long as possible. It's possible for the entirety of the day. So you start your meditation in the morning, and you uh, interiorize your consciousness sufficiently to when you come face to face with the uh, uh, God, and you hold on to that experience throughout the day into the evening. There's some yogis that can do this. So if they can do it, we can do it. I'm always striving to uh, hold on to the knowledge, hold on to the experience without being uh, uh, sidetracked, without my attention being pulled to the sidelines. Some important problem here, some important problem there. Because I found that the answer to all these problems are within myself. I don't have to go and look here or look there, uh, look everywhere for the results, for the after effects, peace, after effects, bliss, after effects, contentment. Without achieving this state, one cannot attain detachment from undeserved objects. So we find ourselves attached to certain things, people, situations. Without transcendence of desires, realization is not possible. That is, when one transcends all desires, everything is achieved. And when everything is achieved, everything is achieved. And when everything is achieved, the mind is satisfied. You've all had periods of meditation when the mind is satisfied. The mind's always dissatisfied, looking for this, looking for that. It might be polite and might appear to be satisfied in front of a yogi or a spiritual teacher. But if you leave their company and you're yourself again, you admit that the wrong perception is still there. Otherwise, why would it change back? Without action, without breath, without Kriya, so breath and Kriya are primary actions. So what Lahiri is saying here is just pure Vedas, directly from the Vedas, but it's coming directly from his realization. All beings are acting, breathing under the influence of the five elements: mind, intelligence, and ego, through the qualities sattva, divine, raja, active, and tamasa, lethargic, operating through the channels, namely Sushumna, Pingala, and Ida. He who is practicing on holding on to the self, abandoning the results of the practice is good. And all the actions or kriyas of him who is making the attention of the mind outward for achieving sense enjoyment, forgetting the aim of the self, that is tranquility, are false. Whosoever practices Kriya Yoga, putting the senses of the mind at the after effect poise of Kriya Pranayama, abandoning attachments to the results of Kriya Yoga practice, that is, the organs of action, to the results of Kriya practice, that is, in the organs of action and working on their own automatically. The seeker having no desire or attachment in their activities is good. Whosoever thinks about the gods is thought of by the gods. So if you think of Kali, if you think of Shiva, if you think of Rama, if you think of any god that is dear to you, that God is thinking of you. That's thinking of each other. Should I pronounce this word? Reciprocally? Reciprocally? Both are benefiting. So that's good to know, because we all think of the gods either collectively or individually. A god that we're particularly and naturally think of and ask questions of and ask help of. Help me to understand, or help me in this situation. They're listening to you. When the seeker practices Kriya Yoga in the righteous way, that is, abandoning attachment to the results, he achieves tranquility. Fortunately, and reciprocally, from the state of the after effect, poise and Kriya Pranayama, and thus tranquility is the peace or liberation, which occurs from the sentiment of a detachment to the results of the after effects. When one offers oblation to one's desired deity and considers that the deity is not eating and one is eating the same, then he or she is a thief. When by sincere Kriya practice, the mystic powers, for example, one offers oblations to the desired deity and considers that the deity is not eating and one is eating the same, then he or she is a thief. When by the sincere Kriya practice, the mystic powers, for example, the eightfold yogic powers, are generated in the body of the seeker bestowed by the kutasa or the inner self. The seeker for himself in that way, the seeker can the seeker can earn the trust of the Lord and attain the further blessings of eternal tranquility or realization. But if he is using the same power for personal gain or development, then due to the attachment and temptation toward mystic power, the seeker attracts the downfall in spiritual progression and eternal realization. So we practice Kriya for the sake of Kriya. Early on, we define what we want, and we go about the changes, the obvious changes needed to live a righteous life, to live a yogic life. And then we begin in earnest to start to feel the presence of the self, to know the self through initiation. We're introduced to the self. We know the self. And then the work is to reside in the self all the time. We know what it is, so we can elicit the experience during meditation. We go deeper and deeper into that meditation of that. And when we come back into the world, we're accompanied by and we're directed by righteous and good actions and righteous and good behavior. How many people in the world would really love to have that? Because there are a lot of sincere people in the world, but they don't have guidance. They haven't even heard of proper guidance. They've heard of all sorts of things, religions, spells, uh, Buddha, all sorts of religious practices, meditation practices. But when they come across Kriya Yoga, if it's presented to them in its real form, which means its universal form, that it's available to every single person, they don't have to belong to a group. They're not even necessarily encouraged to join a group, but they're all the inspiration, all the encouragement is to find the self within, be initiated, find the self, and dedicate yourself to worship and protecting that image of your ideal and worshiping that image of the ideal through the living presence that you see with your spiritual vision. Because then, after being touched by the guru, you can start having real experiences within that are transformative. You start noticing transformative changes in yourself. You're not looking for progress, but you're can't help to see that I'm thinking differently. I'm living differently. The thoughts that I had are seem to be gone. They seem to be replaced by new thoughts, by inspiring thoughts, by good, appealing thoughts, experiences. And that's that's a reality for today. It's not a promise. It's do and see yourself. See for yourself, because it's all readily available right now for those who ask. If you're sincere, then you'll go to those who have, and you can experience today. I had some kind of a power looking after me. I suppose I feel that it was to give me the right situations to where I could always connect with and be in the presence with and meditate with and learn from um, Mahatmas that were dedicated to the spiritual path. I always had the the good fortune of that. Okay, that's it. It's we got plenty of time. An hour, 15 minutes. It's just talk among ourselves about anything that you want to talk about. Any questions you have, or any statements you have, or any stories that you have, any troubles that you have, any good things that have happened to you, anything at all. Kanik, you're first. What's your query?
Usually what I wanted to understand how should I manage my state of the mind after the morning meditation till the end of the day. I kind of lose track after meditation. So what should be my state of mind when you say that Kriya is a religion, and so the morning meditation, and then after that, when I'm out and about in the world, how do I translate that religion into my daily life? Like when I'm not sitting and meditating.
How much how much time do you have to yourself?
I get a lot of time to myself, even when I'm going to the office, I'm being driven, so I have time at the commute. But then in office, I don't think much about God. I'm unable to. Then when I come back in the evening, also I have time. And even when I'm doing things, I do my things, and then in the middle also I have time. So a question that is usually coming to my mind is, what should I do in this? I can't always meditate, so what should my mind do? I don't want it to slip into a state of blankness or diffused ambiguity. So what should I do? Because while I'm sitting in meditation, I can motivate myself to some degree, but during the rest of the day, I can't hold on to that level of motivation. So what would it mean to practice Kriya Yoga during the day as a religion?
Well, I would at this time in your life, you're uh, blessed with various activities that aren't too challenging or aren't too draining. I would literally wake up in the morning with meditation practice being the priority, and then any activity you do, look upon it as service to that deity that you uh, naturally love, and uh, let life unfold as it does. What opportunities come to be with a guru, a mahatma, uh, jump at the chance to have those opportunities, spend as much time with them as possible. But you're on a good regulated meditation course, which uh, as you continue is going to go deeper and deeper and deeper, and you've made contact with God, so God will reveal Himself uh, more and more, either slowly, which is for your own good. Maybe you're maybe it's best for you to have the experience slowly and be able to process it. Or, whereas if you have divine experience all of a sudden, very quickly, it could shatter a lot of your beliefs, a lot of your ideas, and you could be uh, shaken up by it, and need perhaps with the company of somebody else that cares about you to um, uh, be cared for after uh, a divine experience. So yeah, you have the ideal health, your life. I mean, you're healthy, you're young, you're uh, very much dedicated to God and the gurus. Uh, you're uh, have literally a perfect life when it comes to the opportunities of a yogi, and that's because of your good karma from the past and your love of God. Not not sure if I answered your question or not. Did I? Was there something specific that I didn't address?
Um, Basically, Swamiji, I find the company of people, even good meaning people, now a bit draining. And I wonder if I should spend that time that I spend with them, with myself and focusing on things, just like, but I can't be meditating all the time. So I think my query was, what should I do if I'm not meditating, but I still want to place my attention on God? What should I do? Should I just focus my attention here?
Should literally be meditating all the time, and some people, when they're taught Kriya Yoga, they're taught the meditation practice, but they're not taught uh, how to live. What life is like before you sit to meditate, and what's life like after you meditate. Fortunately, I was taught uh, uh, after Khetri Mudra, I was taught to practice Khetri Mudra all the time and continue to improve it. Stretch stretch your tongue more and more. Take a towel and gently pull it out straight, pull it to the side, pull it to the left until there's a lot of tension, a little bit of pain, and uh, that that slowly lengthens your tongue and uh, can continue to do that. Imagine if you did that day after day after day after day after month after year. Um, how much progress you would make in uh, achieving Khetri Mudra at a higher stage. Um, so you have Khetri Mudra to practice, and then engaging with others is uh, great spiritual opportunities. Your family, your coworkers, and your neighbors, other people in the world. When you have to spend time with them, uh, it's a it's it's a great time to contemplate on the God that you know, uh, that you've experienced in meditation. Be be more silent. Be more uh, uh, actively intuitive and observing uh, the people that are talking, observing the other people that are around, their behaviors. Uh, I, I, I found that if I'm putting my mind towards God, if I love God, it has kind of a word for it would be kind of a frightening power, meaning people uh, sense something about you, sense uh, that they that they shouldn't uh, engage with you unless it's something important. In other words, they respect your solitude when they see you in person. They talk to you in person. They seem to get to be a little more reserved, a little more respectful, a little more serious. No, I don't find interacting with other people a distraction to Kriya Yoga at all. Uh, you're you're meeting other souls that are divine souls. They're living in a intricate cobweb in their minds of all their various experiences that they identify with. That is me, my unique experiences, my unique setting in life is me. It is myself. Um, it's curious to observe people under the sway, under the power of Maya, and to uh, come from a place of knowledge, come from a place of uh, serenity, and contrast with that, and the power of love, the power of serenity, always, uh, in most cases, conquers uh, their unlimited thoughts and expands their minds also, as long as they're with you. So they could start to have a different outlook, a different way of thinking of life. And when you part ways, they continue with that for a little while until their tendencies come, because they haven't been eliminated, their tendencies come back, and they go back into their former way of thinking. And that can be with family members, peers, but it can also be with um, professionals, people people that have power professionally. Uh, it can have effects on them, even if they're not necessarily aware of it. It can have a subtle effect on them for the good. It's important not to present Kriya Yoga as uh, a religion. It's important not to present it as a cult, meaning uh, to practice Kriya Yoga, you don't have to dress a particular way. You don't have to follow a particular culture. You don't have to do uh, unusual things in public that could be associated with a group or a cult or a religion. Kriya Yoga isn't any of those things. Kriya Yoga is influential to every single person, regardless of their culture, and regardless of what their belief in God is. Um, all cultural belief in God, I found to be true. Um, but as they start to meditate, as they start to experience this divinity, their minds start to expand, and they start to see that um, my culture, my path, the spirituality, my religion is good, but there's something better, and everybody's looking for something better. And when they find it, they feel better. They feel good. But there, in Kriya Yoga, there's a lot of emphasis on the externals. A lot of emphasis on uh, uh, Sanskrit, for example. A lot of interest and a lot of presentation of the history of Kriya Yoga. The history of Kriya Yoga doesn't even have to be presented. The rituals certainly don't have to be presented for Kriya Yoga initiation to be successful. Because what you're practicing has no name. It has no. It has symbolism, but different people in different cultures and different worlds, their symbolism would also develop, but their symbolism for Kriya Yoga could be entirely different. And suppose you discovered tucked away somewhere in the Amazon rainforest a primitive culture that has never had contact with human beings before. You could definitely initiate them into Kriya Yoga. It wouldn't have to be explained in any of the terms that it's explained now, because it's completely universal. And let's say they grow up and they're gradually exposed to society at large, so they're aware of other cultures, and they receive the necessary vaccinations so the R germs don't kill them, and they could be living a truly divine life, not one is recognized, not one that is recognized by their culture, but one that is recognized by their wisdom, by their knowledge. And it's very possible. I could lose my way and find myself in a forgotten culture in the Amazon, and I, I I feel confident that I could communicate with them. That I could communicate with them in life. I could communicate definitely no harm. I could communicate appreciation. I could communicate love, and I could communicate uh, not only a connection with God, but I could communicate my knowledge of God to them. Um, if if you really know Kriya Yoga, you can speak of it to anybody, anywhere, at any time, as long as they're receptive to listening. They don't even have to believe. They just you catch them at a time where they're receptive to listening. It can even be taught to a dedicated atheist. You would choose different words to describe it, but you can you can describe it with different words in different languages. If I had the necessary ingredients in that hidden civilization, which I'd imagine I would, it could be a very successful way of life for everybody, and an improved way of life for them, because then they would have the knowledge of God and enhanced whatever their name for God might be. And then for atheists living in modern society, it could be clearly shown and also practiced after they see after they understand the meaning of Kriya Yoga. It could be practiced by an atheist. Because an atheist does believe in one thing. They do believe that I exist. They do believe that I am. There's no prerequisite that you have to believe in God, because God is usually presented as something out there. It's not necessary to believe in God to practice Kriya Yoga. To really make the ultimate progress, you have to literally let go of everything that you know. Every understanding and every misunderstanding is not needed. It isn't needed there. In other words, you're not bringing something with you to meet with atheists. What is true that you realized is already there. You don't have to tote it around. You could tote around some magazines of Kriya Yoga, some books of Kriya Yoga. That isn't going to transform their understanding.
Pranam Guruji.
Yes.
I just wanted to what Kanika just spoke, two things. I think what she wanted to know, because I faced something similar. She wanted to know that when you're not practicing meditation, then what should you be doing? Because you actually want to be connected with God all the time. So you did mention that we can the deity that we think of in our hearts. We can think about the deity continuously. Like I did that because I wanted to be connected, even when I'm doing things. I'm out in the world and I'm doing everything throughout the whole day. So whenever I would find that I had a bit of time, I would start chanting something. Which like I connect with Shiva, so I would immediately remember him or remember Guruji. So that is what I did. That was one. And the second thing that she was saying, that I would like uh, I'd rather spend time not with people, because even though they are good people, I think somewhere you can correct me, Guruji, if I'm wrong, but somewhere, the people that we connect, that we are around, or people who are around us, we are given that those people so that we learn. And somewhere, and if we need to get, in solitude, we would find there would be a way that we can you can stay without them. So I think when you're in a job and things like that, you do learn a lot from people who are around you. Uh, I to have that thought that, I would rather not spend time with people, that is a good thought, but spending time with them will, I think, enhances our own uh, path. I felt I've gone through that because I was working and I was in a full-time job, and then suddenly I left job and I was at home, and I was doing nothing. So when it has to happen, it will happen like that. But otherwise, till the time you are in a job and you are with people, I think it is time to learn, keep learning. They teach a lot of things to you. This is what is my experience, Guruji.
Well, literally, after I was initiated, and granted, when I was initiated, I didn't have any family. I didn't have any friends. I didn't have any acquaintances. I didn't have any responsibilities. So it was easy for me to remain silent and spend the majority of my time sitting for meditation. But I completely agree with you. I think the interactions that we have with people, the time that we spend with people, uh, it's very, very good for us. It's very important because our actions, our reactions, the thoughts that come up, the interactions that come up, and the doing, the difficult things, the easy things, uh, uh, teach us a lot about ourselves. And as long as we're on uh, the path of Kriya Yoga and practicing meditation every day, it should never replace meditation. But even in those instances, this is exactly what I would do from day one. Is I would practice Khetri Mudra all the time, all the time. And when it came time for me to talk, then I would talk. You can't practice Khetri Mudra when you're talking. So when it called for me to talk, then I would talk. And then I would go back to Khetri Mudra. And I would always keep my awareness here. Always keep it here all the time. So even when I was talking and engaging with other people, I would keep my awareness here at the spiritual eye. So it, and then when I started interacting with lots of people, when I open up the retail bicycle shops, or you open up to the retail here, that you unlock the doors and you want as many people to come in as possible, and you're eager to talk to them, because that's the business, is interaction with the customer. So then I would stop Khetri Mudra, but I would still keep my awareness here as I spoke to them. So in a sense, I continued to meditate all the time. I didn't think of Shiva. I didn't think of Kali. I practiced the meditation method. And then when I would sit to meditate, then I would intensify my concentration, and it would be a long-term meditation. So I would take that after effect of the meditation with me. So I would meditate first thing in the morning, and I would meditate in the afternoon, and I would meditate in the evening before going to sleep. And I never felt confusion coming or exasperation coming because I'm interacting with other people. If you stay in meditation while you're interacting with other people, you're relatively calm. And so you see the big picture and you see both sides of the picture. You're able to listen better. And then the solutions, the thoughts for them come to you. You don't have to overly think it. They just appear to you, probably because you're very alert. That's what I did throughout all these years, and that's what I continue to do now too. It, interaction with other people, I find it very interesting to communicate with people at various levels of consciousness and various levels of experience, because people are of all types. The Sattva, Raja, and Tamaguna presents people of those types. Some are mixed, but there's always one that's influential in their life. Either a tamasic tendencies where they're lazy, they procrastinate, or rajasic tendencies where they're really enthusiastic about the jobs and the results, a good result from the jobs. And then those that are primarily sattvic, they're very spiritually minded, so they're doing whatever work is required of them, but they're always thinking about spiritual matters, and they're always wanting to talk to others about spiritual matters. So I felt like, and I feel like, continue to feel like I can talk with any of these people um, without endangering or without taking my attention away from the katastha, away from the self, away from God. But it's just a simple matter of practice. And attending satsang, I attended satsang throughout my whole life. Every satsang that was available, so I attended thousands of satsangs from different Mahatmas. Performances, sporting performances, music performances, that sort of thing. I've never gone to concerts. I've never gone to anything like that. I'm trying to think of sporting events. Never went to sporting events. So that saves a lot of time that you can be used for exploring methods and ways of experiencing the presence of God deeper and deeper. Of course, your life would be different. You have different interests. You have different desires. I have hobbies. I have things that I'm interested in. So I engage in those. And in solitude in the past, I would engage in my hobbies with other people that had similar likes. But now that I'm really kind of cut off from everybody, I do it by myself occasionally. And I find that that's helpful too for my spiritual life. I find that good, wholesome things that you do as activities only help you in your realization. They're demonstrating to you all the time the presence of God.
Gurudev, I have a question.
Yes.
I have two parts of the question. First, they're two extreme different. I think a while back somebody said something about the energies and in the satsang. Can people drain outer energies? Can you take their negative things to yours and stick to it? Because something happened a few weeks ago, and it was weird. Weird in sense, there's another satsangs I follow, and then this lady, she was very, very sick. So somebody called me, she's like, she could use your help. So I just went to her house to just listen to her.
Mm.
And she talked for 2.5 hours. In the end, what I'm sensing and I'm feeling is completely different than I'm trying to ignore it at the same time. Because as you know, it's like you feel people are, like you say, all kind of craziness. Like some people are to understand. Like another situation it happened where this lady was like, you know how you always say pray for 3 hours, meditate for 3 hours, and she's sitting on my chair, and I'm just minding my own business, doing her hair, and then I just ask her, I said, so what do you do? She's like, sometime I meditate for 3 hours. And she has a 9-year-old child. Said, yeah, my mom meditates, and I sit next to her and I do mindfulness and I do meditation. I'm like, holy moly, who are these people? In a good way, because I feel blessed to be able to meet people and they are already on that path and kind of makes your day. And then the other side, when I see this, and the lady is deeply depressed and she's crying, and oh my God, Seema, how you can stay happy all the time. I see you in the satsangs all the time. You're so peaceful. What are you doing? So I end up telling her different verses from Bhagavad, the different verses from Shri Guru Granth Sahib, and she's just listening, but it's not processing. I came home, and 2 days later, I'm sick as a dog and end up in a hospital. And somehow it's weird enough, they find absolutely nothing wrong with me, but I'm feeling the way she was feeling. And I'm like, is this real? Like, I'm like, really, she sucked everything out of me and leave me with nothing. And then I'm sitting here praying and meditating and trying to heal my body. And it's like, can this happen? Can people put their negative impressions on you in a way it can drain your energy?
No, they can't drain you of energy unless you let them. So you need to guard yourself from any influence outside of yourself that takes your energy. You know, there can be dramatic things that take your attention outward, and if they're really dramatic and if they hit home, if they're personal, then of course it could be draining on you. But that isn't yogic. You want to conserve your life force. You want to conserve your prana within yourself. So you would put more attention, put more awareness on practicing Kriya Pranayama when you're in their presence, so that you're holding on to your prana and you're circulating the prana and your sushumna. You can do that quietly and in a way where nobody's observing what you're doing, and then be aware of it when it's happening. So just kind of slow down, and you can continue to put yourself in the situation just as an experiment to see if you have the ability to keep your energy to yourself, keep your energy inside, and not let somebody else take all of it. I think everybody's experienced such a thing, where somebody we're interested in or somebody we're talking with can uh, take from us, take energy from us.
Interesting. And then the other thing you said a while back is like, like we as a sangat, as a together, like the people who join your satsangs, we've been in the previous with you in the past lives. So what was it like that on that time, and how many years has been gone by before we met you again or reunite with you again?
Well, you have to be self-sufficient. You have to be self-motivated, and you have to wake up with yourself every morning, and then be determined to walk towards your goal. Identify what your goal is, know what it is, and walk toward it every day, step by step. It can be fast steps, or they can be slow steps. There can be an obstacle, but you make your way over the obstacle and continue that way. One step is better than no steps. So maybe your progress won't be rapid as something traumatic or dramatic is happening in your life, but you can still make progress. And God's your closest friend. God knows what's happening in your life. God's there to experience it with you, live it with you, and protect you, and give you the proper advice. And we can stay tuned in with God, and we can follow that. Being self-sufficient, knowing that God is within us. We have God, and God has all of the relevant, perfect wisdom in conversation, or wisdom in situations to teach us, to show us. And then the life is the battlefield. It's the battlefield of winning the war over the bad impressions and memories and actions that you've done in the past, and you carry over into this life. It's an opportunity to make progress.
Thank you.
Sure. The man of action is free from karma, meaning going about your life, who receives with contentment whatever befalls him, who is poised above dualities, who is devoid of jealousy or envy or enmity, and who looks equally on gain and loss. All of us prefer gain over loss, and all of us have had gains, and all of us have had losses. And to have a loss is not pleasant. It's not the good news that we like. And to have a gain is pleasant. And it's really dark outside, and invigorating, and good. But it can't happen all the time. And depending on your karma, you might have a lot of good fortune and very little misfortune. But that life is just an opportunity to teach you lessons. And imagine in the midst of Maya that you're still loyal and still dedicated to God, even though every culture, every family, every loved one, you carry the picture of them, but you're influenced by so many other things. So you love working in your family business, for example, and you grew up with your family business. You have a love relationship with your father, with your mother, with your brothers, with your sisters, and you go to the big city and you're based on your skills and your likability. Various people offer you really good positions to work, really good positions that would double your income and also give you meet new people that you never met, good successful people that you could grow your position even more and more. But it would require leaving your family, leaving your mother, leaving your father, leaving the family business that is a legacy passed on from previous generations, losing contact with your brother, with your sister, all that you worked with. And almost, almost every day we have we have something that tries to push us off course, veer us off course, attract us towards something else. How loyal are we? How God oriented are we? How much do we love God? If we do to a sufficient level, or if we do completely, there's nothing in the world that would tempt us. I said Jesus in the 40 days and nights of fasting and praying, that he was, by God, he was given all sorts of exceptional gifts to be a master in the world, to have practically anything in the world. And after seeing this as a reality that God could do, he chose God. He said, I don't want all these things that are going to eventually fail. They're eventually going to deteriorate or change. Whereas the more I get to know you, the more I have you in my consciousness, and more of a reality it is. So I guess to some of the questions, the question is we sit and meditate, but what about all the other time? Somebody could say, well, satsang, service, reading the scriptures, but no, you can meditate all the time. It's enjoyable. I remember when I was very young, going before adults that were probably in their late 20s, early 30s. So to me, they were adults in positions of power, and my brother, being a successful artist, brought me into some of their offices. I was a little intimidated because I'd never liked offices. I'd never been in offices, and the people were a little intimidating too. And I remember waiting for somebody to come through the door, to come talk to me and come interview me. And I probably waited about 15 or 20 minutes, but I practiced the Soham mantra continuously with my attention here. I practiced that mantra. and I felt a power come up in me and around me to present me physically in a different way. In other words, in an influential way, in a way that could influence them to give me the position. And I felt the power that I felt in the mantra could do that if that was the best thing for me. And in many instances, I was in uh, crowds of people waiting in line, and I would practice the Hangsa Soham uh, mantra. So in my spare time, I would, when I wasn't meditating, I would be practicing the Soham or Sangha mantra. I practiced the Soham mantra at that time. I felt the presence of God. I felt protected by God. I felt that uh, myself was enhanced by God. I felt the light of God within me. So I I knew that that was God. I had no doubts about that. It's so rainy here. Real dark, like nighttime. I like extreme weather.
Guruji,
Yes, honey.
so if we identify something which is of a tamasic nature, uh, what what do we do? Do we, like we say, we substitute it? So we straight go to thinking about sattvic things to replace, or something to get into action more, like a rajasic, or do you even think about it, or you just um, like it's important to make goals, right? So when you identify something, how do you replace it with something worthwhile? And
Well,
there's
mhm.
also uh, like a follow-up. I'll tell you the example is like I identify that so it's contrary to what Punita and Kanika, I don't know, contrary or in a very different way. When I think about going solo, my tendency is that I end up with the phone or waste time. So the usual meditation I would do, but when I'm solo, I would go into wasting time over the phone. So it's almost like you and I was thinking of the word stupefy of our senses rather than indulge in senses. You are just stopping yourself from being active. And I think I had written to you also earlier that you had shared that take small goals is what I remember. You writing something about it. It's almost like um I feel if I'm in a group of devotees, like in an ashram setting, I would fare better because there is competition, or I would not say competition, but maybe healthy, whatever, uh, people doing things together.
Well, uh, if you find yourself in a uh, tamasic situation, it would depend on your attitude. I've experienced so many tamasic situations and so many sattvic situations and so many rajasic situations just because of my years of experience. So I understand at first you would the tendency would be to remove yourself from the bad situation. I don't uh, do that anymore. I don't. I see everything, uh, all three natures, sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic, all active because of the power of God. So I look at the power of God underlining these uh, tendencies. I'm not personally afraid of the tendencies themselves. I know I'm not. I don't have anything that's going to persuade me to be tamasic, for example. I don't have anything that's going to persuade me to be uh, rajasic. Um, Even though I display some rajasic tendencies and I display some sattvic tendencies, those are natural in life. But tamasic tendencies are uh, not natural for a human being. They're uh, unnatural. And so if you thoroughly understand what you are as soul,
I don't know that one.
you understand that soul has no tamasic tendencies. And if you know that, then if you're in a tamasic situation with tamasic temptations that might be temptations to others that are still desirous of tamasic activities, you no longer are. So you have no fear of it, and you know the tamasic tendency. You know the tamasic situation having come will also go. So you have a lot of freedom that way. You're not trying to pick favorable situations. Um, you're you pick your favorable situation, and your most favorable situation is uh, sattvic. So those things don't bother you. But for somebody starting out, uh, if you come into a, a, a tamasic place, a place of ugliness, a place of selfishness, a place of just debased central activities, for example, central um, pleasures, for example, you would get yourself out of there as soon as possible. Don't uh, don't be in that atmosphere, and don't think about that atmosphere. If you're yourself having trouble with that tendency and desires and that tendency, then you have to uh, stop supplying it with a blood supply of life. You have to stop supplying it with your attention. Um, as soul, remember your attention is power. So you have to remove yourself from that situation as soon as possible, and then definitely don't indulge in it ever. Don't ever indulge in the tamasic tendency ever. There's no excuse for it. Um, every time you indulge in it, it creates a brand new tamasic tendency. it doesn't add on to the tendencies you have. It starts a brand new one that is freshly inspired and can grow and can literally, literally ruin your life, and destroy your good life. Excuse me 1 second. I gotta close that window. I can't turn the camera off, so you can watch me do it. We're all open, but it was only blowing through that one window. Every time we indulge in a bad action, it's it has long lasting effects on us. It might seem innocent at the time, but it has long lasting effects, and um, that that can be life changing. It can take you down the wrong path. It can interfere with your meditation at the least. That's the problem. That's why they're called tamasic activities or bad activities. It's because they have long lasting effects. Whereas sattvic tendencies are enjoy, but they don't create long lasting effects. Um, they just simply make you a little bit more sattvic, but you're not thinking of it as an egoic happening. Oh, I did this. But when you do something bad, it always involves the ego. I did this. And so you feel bad about it. So it strengthens the ego as well. Whereas sattvic tendencies are selfless, and anything you do that's selfless uh, eventually removes the ego. This is why service is so important. In Kriya Yoga, service is not. It's out there, but it's not really emphasized to the degree that it should be emphasized. It's emphasized as send in your donations for help us maintain this particular temple or whatever, to renew it or fix it and pitch in and help that way. Or you can come to the ashram and I guess you're on a waiting list, and then when there's an opening, you're able to come to the ashram and stay, and you can participate in service. Uh, Service, like meditation, uh, the availability of service is uh, without restriction. There's no time when service isn't available. Service is always available, and it's important because it uh, removes your feeling of ego. It removes the ego from you, that I am the doer, I am the receiver. If you're looking, you saw what an emphasis Lahiri Mahasaya put on uh, uh, on the after effects of Kriya, of acting after Kriya, of doing after Kriya, without ego. You put a big emphasis of the reduction or the elimination of ego, and service does that. So people wonder, what is service? What service is any good that you do for another person? That's service. And there's always an opportunity for it. The best service is the service that others won't necessarily recognize. It's something that you do, but others might not even recognize it. The person you do it for might not even recognize that you did it, but it's for their benefit. And so this is physical service and helping others. If somebody has a monetary need and they're really hurting because of it, and if you're in the position to help them, you can send them some funds anonymously. If it's a friend, you don't have to be anonymous about it. You can, among friends, you know each other, so you can put your name along with it. But others that have no resources and they're in trouble, you can help them anonymously, meaning, wow, I have this and this is really helpful, but I don't know who it is that helped me to some benefactor. And then simple things like your let's say all of us are together, we have satsang, and then typically after our satsangs, we always have dinner. It's kind of like a celebration, and then we all sit at the table. The dinner's cooked, and we all sit at the dinner table and dine together and talk. And while everybody's talking, you could get up and go into the kitchen and start to clean the kitchen. That's service. And clean things and put things away, put things in the trash and put the trash in the proper location. Pick up the floor from all the paper and flowers and everything that's on the floor. You could do that very quietly. That's service. And it can be done anywhere to anybody. I do it for because most of my company is bugs. I mostly meet bugs every day, and so if I see a little bug, a little ant or a little beetle or whatever bug that's in this room, I help them out. You know, maybe they rolled over on their back, and I turn them right side up, and I cut a little hole in the screen where I can push the bugs out back into nature, and that's service. But also, if somebody was sleeping and they needed a blanket, I would look for a blanket. If I couldn't find a blanket, if there were no blankets, I would take my own blanket and I would cover them with that blanket so that they would be comfortable throughout the night. That's service. But service is endless. Service has to do with your attitude. And suppose everybody had that attitude. What a beautiful world that would be. And then there's service to Mahatmas, but that's rare. That's if you have that opportunity. Fortunately, I had that opportunity for 7 years daily. And then there's service to the perfect master. There's service to the enlightened guru, and that's rare. When we have the opportunity for that, we do that to at every opportunity that we have in their needs, without thinking of benefit. Now, myself, I do think of benefit from time to time. So I wonder about my life. Is my life, have I lived a good life? Have I lived a worthwhile life? Did I do everything that I could have done? I realize that I haven't, that I could have been better. And I think about the bad things I've done. I think about the good things I've done. And I believe I've done more good things than I have bad things. And so I sometimes take a quick tally of the good things that I've done and the exceptional good things that I've done. And that will go with me into the next life and shape and form and give me the type of life that I want in the next life. And in the next life, I definitely want a life of service. And I definitely want a life of satsang. And I definitely want a life of meditation. And I definitely want a life of being with Mahatmas and being with masters and being with devotees. And that's really my heartfelt desire. There's no doubts about that. There's nothing else that I want. There's some things that I wanted, and I kind of outgrew them, and so I'm not going to pursue them. If I continued to pursue them, I would have had them, but I don't. It doesn't even make any sense now for me to want a few things that I did want. For example, I always wanted a Bentley, but wouldn't that be stupid? Me driving around in a Bentley? It wouldn't make any sense. It would be stupid. It doesn't have anything to do with the life that I live now.
Why not go to the blue Bentley with the tan skin? Oh my God.
Yeah, Bentleys are beautiful. And they're the
That's car.
they're the Audi Volkswagen family. They're made by Audi.
They're
And,
gorgeous. My God, especially the blue one. You can open the top and it's a tan color interior. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah. I like the headlights too. The headlights are like a chandelier. They're really beautiful.
Must
But
be.
I'm never going to have a Bentley, and I'm fine with that. I don't want a Bentley anymore. So, some desires just dissipate. I've had every single other physical thing um, that I've wanted, and I've always wanted the best of everything, and I've had everything. I've had the best of everything. So, but what I truly want above everything is to live with Mahatmas, masters, satsang, to live with devotees, the ability to do service and meditation, the spiritual work that I do, which is initiating others into the knowledge of God. That's uh, I remind myself that that's the highest service you can possibly perform. And instead of giving somebody a fish, you're teaching them how to fish. And it's what's possibly more valuable than that. And then the multitude of puppies that I've taken care of, I put that right up there as excellent service. So make service your priority, and you'll notice it. You'll notice a change in your life because God loves the devotee who helps others and thinks about others. God makes that devotee a priority. But it's selfish on my part. I want those things because I enjoy those things. So there's no rule that says service has to be some drudgery that you don't like to do. Just the opposite. It's because you're inspired with God's love. It's always, no matter how humble it is, it's always something that you enjoy and that you want to do. And then you're given the opportunity to do it. Okay, that's it for today. Now, remind me, is today Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
Sunday?
Yes,
Oh,
Today is Sunday.
okay. Well, this is the last satsang for the week then. I was hoping it was Saturday.
We can have a satsang tomorrow as well, Guruji.
We would
That's
love
true.
to have that, Guruji.
That's true. We can have it anytime during the week. We used to have it 4 days a week. So maybe occasionally we'll have a surprise satsang. I'll let you know the day before.
That'd be nice.
I have one doctor's appointment on Tuesday, and
How are you feeling, Gurudev?
I feel really good. Yeah,
Good.
I'm on some new medications that seem to suit me really well.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I feel very, very good, and I'm getting more sleep. I'm actually sleeping 6 hours straight through the night without any interruptions. So that I think that's contributing to me feeling better. Just the fact that I'm getting more rest. And I eat a very pure diet. Some of you contribute to that food that I receive. That's mostly what I eat is that food that I receive in the box. It's all organic food, and I just started walking, which is painful at first, but it's certain. I think the more I do it, the less painful it is. So the lesson is never, whatever situation you're in, whatever bad situation you're in, never give up. God can change any situation that you're in, no matter how impossible it might be for you to get out of it. God will change it. Okay, that's that. I'll see
Pranam,
everybody.
Guruji.
Om Tat Sat Gurudev.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Om Tat Sat Gurudev. Jai
Thank you.
Gurudev. Thank you, Gurudev. Thank you.
That's that.
प्रणाम गुरुजी.
Who? Pyar Kata Hu?
Thank you, Gurudev. On behalf of
Pranam Guruji.
That's that.
Om Tat